Welcome to the Forge Your Future podcast, brought to you by East Central Educational Service Center, located in Newcastle, Indiana. We proudly provide service support and collaboration to 14 counties and 39 member districts.
At ECESC, we believe that students' strengths and interests are a blueprint to forging a future of success and impact, and we are on a journey to provide support and collaboration to schools as they implement career-connected learning for all students.
As part of this mission, we are here today to celebrate the amazing educators who help the students of East Central Indiana dream big dreams and achieve more than they thought possible.
Their work inspires us each day, and we want to lift up their stories and the stories of the students they are impacting and serving.
My name is Pat Haney. I'm the Executive Director of the East Central Educational Service Center, and I am joined today by our co-host, Lindsay Lovern. Hi, Lindsay. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
Well, it is our great honor for both Lindsay and I to be joined today by the Superintendent of Randolph Central School Corporation, Rolland Abraham. And hello to you, Rolland. How are you today?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We are excited to talk about a lot of the things that are happening in Randolph Central School Corporation. And also, we are just grateful for the partnership with Randolph Central that we get to enjoy. We continue to learn from you, and we're excited to talk more about that today. As we get started, why don't you just if you could, just give us a little bit of background information about your district. Where are you located? Who are your students, and really kind of what's your district all about right now?
Well, yeah, we are located here in Randolph County, Indiana, and actually most of our students come from Winchester, Indiana. But which is the city that's within our town, with our school district. But we have two towns to the north, Ridgeville and Saratoga. And so then we have actually, we have one school that's up north there, Deerfield Elementary School. It's a K through 5 building. And here in Winchester, we have the high school, Winchester Community High School, Lee L. Driver Middle School. And then we have a K through 2 building, actually preschool through 2 building, O.R. Baker Elementary. And also we have Willard Elementary School, which is a 3 through 5 building.
Wesley, who's about to start at Baker, is doing the summer reading program at the library this year. He's really excited to start learning to read, and I know that that's been a big initiative for all of your elementary, but particularly at the primary grade levels. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we're part of the Indiana Literacy Cadre, and you're right. Obviously, we have K through 2 in Baker Elementary School, so all of those grades are focused on the literacy cadre and the work in terms of structured literacy. And then obviously of at Deerfield Elementary, the K through 2 building there as well. So I'm excited about what's going on there. Prior to the state of Indiana really defining the literacy path for schools, we were probably pretty heavily in balanced literacy. But I like what's going on with structured literacy in the Indiana Literacy Cadre. Candace Horner is our cadre coach, and she's done an amazing job with our teachers, and excited about what's going on and the early gains that we've already begun to see.
Tell us a little bit about that. What have you seen so far?
In terms of just scores, in NWEA in particular. Now, this was the first year that we actually took IREAD 3 as second graders, and I think 44 or 45% of our kids passed it as second graders, which was I believe that was above the state average. But also just in terms of our NWEA scores and just seeing the individual student gains through literacy, it's the evidence is there, and we're moving forward, so it's a great thing.
Yeah, that is exciting, and kudos to you and your elementary staff for really jumping on board with the literacy cadre. There's a lot of collaboration, a lot of professional development that goes into that. And here at Service Center, we're hearing great things about the strides that you're making as well. So also kind of shifting gears, I know another big initiative in the state of Indiana right now is really on high school redesign, and one piece of that is thinking about early college opportunities for students. I'd love to hear just how you've supported that work, and kind of what you've accomplished so far, and what's next for Randolph Central when you think about early college opportunities for high school students.
Sure. I remember I actually came to this district as a high school, middle school principal. That lasted for about 2 months, and I became the superintendent. But one thing that I was very impressed with when just walking through the door as a principal
Mhm.
was the number of dual credit courses that Winchester Community High School was offering at the time. And I believe that was somewhere around 27, 28 at the time, and was very impressed with that. And then as I got here, I already had a connection with Cell out of UIndy. And
Mhm.
so they kind of came in the door with me. And so I connected those, and then I became the superintendent, but connected Cell with Carla Reed and her team. And we really saw over that next 5 years, or even 3 to 5 years, we really saw the dual credit shift from just random dual acts of dual credit to an early college culture.
Mm.
And early college is really embedded at Winchester Community High School and even at Driver Middle School. There's a lot of effort to make sure kids are ready in Driver Middle School as they move into the early college. And what I mean by embedded, when we talk about early college at Winchester Community High School, it's not just in the academic wing. You know, we're offering all the dual credits in agriculture, precision machining, welding. And so it's just a comprehensive approach. We're also offering that in the Family and Consumer Sciences hallway. And it really changed the academic rigor of the school as a whole as well. We saw academic achievement rise and student performance in those dual credit courses increase. So really excited about early college and what it and even our student thought processes in terms of what they're doing in high school. They're just bought into the fact that they're getting that Indiana College core, or they're getting that Ivy Tech agriculture certificate, or they're getting that precision machining certificate, or the welding certificate. So they've just really bought in to early college as a whole. So it's exciting to see that happen. So it's excuse me, it's kind of a marriage of the academic wing and the CTE programs as well. So excited about how that works out. And the next evolution of that is PTech. But this last year we implemented PTech, and PTech is a partnership between the school and local industry partners. So these students in PTech, and last year was chapter one, which was just the first 12 kids this freshman. We call them chapters. And those students were heavily engaged. So kids that may have had their head down on a desk at the back of a room, they're literally working with industry partners. They're listening to industry partners. They're solving problems that industry partners bring to them, and then they're presenting their solutions back to those industry partners. And they're building relationships with people in the community as freshmen. And they'll continue to do that for the next 3 years. We'll add one more chapter every year for the next 4 years. And so eventually there'll be 48 kids in that program at Winchester Community High School. And we're currently building a 4,200 square foot large instructional space that's needed for that effort. And the 1967 wing of Winchester Community High School just does not have any spaces that were adequate for that. So we're excited about that and what's happening with PTech. And that really flows into high school redesign. Because that's all about getting those kids their internships, building those relationships, and those kids stepping into an internship with somebody they've built a relationship with. That's exciting stuff, and that'll help us also. Our workplace readiness coordinator there has made 42, I think, industry partnership connections. And so we'll be able to use those connections to build internships for other kids in the school that are not necessarily in the PTech program. So that's a very exciting initiative for us. Hopefully we'll have an open house when the P-Tech building is open, probably in January, and invite people up to see that.
Love it. So you said that some of these programs, you're really starting to build a culture of excitement and future thinking towards those really in middle school. Is that what you said? How
Yes, yes.
how are the teachers and admin there doing that? How are they preparing students for these awesome high school experiences?
Well, now the good news is our high school and our middle school are joined, and they have separate academic wings, but they have a lot of shared spaces as well.
Mhm.
So they are able to do professional development together.
Mm.
So it's very important, and Carla Reed is very good at this, and Anna Spencer, our middle school principal as well. They'll do shared professional development. Sometimes those are just informational, making sure that the middle school staff knows what's going on with early college and the high school, knows what's going on with P-Tech. And then often those some of our early college teachers take the lead in some of those professional developments and help the middle school staff know exactly what skills need to be worked on. And you know, Mr. Romine would be a great example. He's often leading professional development, and that's a lot of that's about getting kids ready for early college experiences.
And Mr. Romine just had some great news to celebrate a couple of weeks ago, right? Speaking of early college.
Yeah, he was one of 19 dual credit. Well, I'm not sure exactly the title, but it was dual credit distinguished teachers for Ivy Tech. He was for our region. That was an awesome banquet, and he got this really cool Ivy Tech limestone sculpture thing. It was really neat. So
That's exciting. Hey, Ron, I wonder if I'm interested, and I wondered if some of our listeners would be interested. Take us back a few years when the idea of this P-Tech option for your high school students, where that started. Where did the idea come from, and how I'm curious how it grew, and then in terms of recruiting, your first students into the program. What kind of a response and interest did you receive from students as far as being a part of Chapter 1?
yeah. Well, P-Tech, from my understanding of P-Tech in its original inception, just trying to meet the needs of local industry partners is really what that's all about. And so as we move forward here and we actually were part of the early college initiative through CEL. And so
Hmm.
the grant that was written to help us and 3 other schools launch P-Tech, and there are only 4 in Indiana.
Okay.
That was thought up on a trip back from New York, and we all kind of
Hmm.
brainstormed that and figured out how that grant would be submitted, and were able to actually secure the grant and start the process. For us here, it was really just the next evolution of our early college.
Mhm.
But anyway, I just want people to
Yeah.
know that if you see PCAF out there, it's the same model
Mhm.
being implemented. Now it's
Hmm.
slightly different. Here at Winchester Community High School, we are actually pulling those 12 kids. Those 12 kids are literally getting their core content: math, English, science. It's not always social studies. Every year they alter it. One this last year, I think it was finance, personal finance. So they alter one of those, but they're getting their core curriculum while they're in the P-Tech classroom, which is about 4 hours um, every morning. And so in that program, there is an English teacher, a math teacher, a science teacher, and then one other teacher that are assigned to go in one period of during that 4 periods. And then there's a teacher that's with them all the time, and then they have a workplace readiness coordinator that works with them as well. Um, so
Hmm.
um, and in terms of recruiting those first 12, that was actually an application process where the kids applied to get in, and
Hmm.
they went to the middle school staff and said, hey, here's the criteria. That's once again something that happened during professional development. Here's the criteria. These are the types of kids that we're looking for. We were really looking at this model is all about taking kids who may not have thrived in high school and getting them to thrive. And I'll be honest with you, it was exciting to see that happen the
Mhm.
first year. It was just incredible watching these kids do their presentations back to the industry partners. So they applied, and then those 12 were selected. And then they actually have like a signing ceremony where those 12 kids come and their parents come, and a lot of the industry partners donate a lot of some swag with their logos on it and that sort of stuff. And they have a signing, and the kids get a bag of swag, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see that happen.
That's amazing. I love it has to just generate so much excitement for the students and for the families as they transition into high school. But I'm also curious, Rolland, about your engagement with industry partners through P-Tech. And I know you talked about industry partners bringing problems to the students for them to work through and to seek solutions. Any examples of kind of industry partners and some of the opportunities for solution focused thinking that they've brought to the students?
Yeah, one that comes to my mind right off the bat is we have over in Union City. There's a lumber mill, and they sell a lot of white oak. People prefer white oak, but there's also red oak out there. And so the kids, that was presented to the kids, and the fact that there's an abundant supply of red oak, but nobody wants it. So how do we shift the market? And so the kids, tackled that problem. That what happens is the industry partner comes and presents the problem, and then they have to make themselves available as a resource to the kids. So if the kids have additional questions, they can reach out and ask those questions. And then the kids turn around and come up with some sort of plan. How can we market red oak so that more people are interested in buying red oak as opposed to white oak? And then they presented that back to the industry partners. And Mr. James, Steve James, he mentioned to me that there were a couple ideas that came out of that they are looking to implement. And it's all about getting a fresh mind or fresh perspective on those industry issues. So that's just one of them that comes to my mind pretty quickly.
That's amazing. Shout out to Frank. Shout out to Frank Miller Lumber, our friends in Union City. They are tremendous partners in our whole region, and we are certainly very thankful for them.
They really are. They've got a vision to help schools.
Yeah, I love it, and I think the whole program. We've talked a little bit about in the state high school redesign. I think this also is kind of elevating the high school experience. You were talking about having the signing, and it to me kind of feels like almost a fellowship type model where they're getting to participate and have these experiences and interactions that not everybody does. I love it. I think that's really great. Have you seen in this second chapter, getting ready to get started, was that a more competitive application process now that students are more aware of it? You're remodeling for the program.
And it was, it was more competitive. I think they're limiting it to 12 right now. I think there could be some that get in later. We'll see, but that brings the program to 24 kids at this point. And the day might come when we have to consider classes or chapters of bigger than 12. I would not be surprised if that happens.
Yeah. I think more and more families are going to want to be a part of that.
Yeah, and then I'm going to wish I had built a bigger building probably than it will.
Well, maybe when that future comes, there'll be even more opportunities for sending students out for their interactions with industry partners.
Yeah, so Rolland, I know that in addition to P-Tech, you have a lot of exciting things going on in terms of CTE opportunities for students at Winchester High School, and I've had the opportunity to be there and to visit, to not only see P-Tech, but to see some of the other really exciting pathways that you have developed for students. What are some things you really want to celebrate today and mention as far as those opportunities for students?
Well, one thing that we've experienced in being a superintendent, and my most recent job before that was a high school principal, realizing that we can't do it all. We'd like to, but we have limited resources, especially in a small rural school. So our partnership with Union City, and also with Monroe Central High School and RAS 32. So what we're doing in partnership with them Union City's building an incredible medical academy. And we'll be sending our, actually, I think we're sending 8 students, if I remember right, over there next year. We had looked into that. We just did not have the resources. When we studied it, we ended up adding anatomy and physiology, which is a great add for us. But we just could not get to the point where we offered more hands-on medical coursework. And so Union City will do that for us. And that's their program is our program.
Mm-hmm.
We're sharing programs. They send welding kids and precision machining kids to us, and we'll send those kids over there. And then they also have communications, radio, and TV. And I think they're also done a business pathway as well. Over at Monroe Central, precision ag, early childhood education, and then an IT pathway as well. So, and that's all right here in Randolph County. So we don't have to drive outside the county. That means our driving time from us to those programs is, 10 to 15 minutes, as opposed to, going to the Career Center, which was substantially longer for us. So that's exciting to have those opportunities for our kids, and we're looking forward to that really growing, and bringing on Joanne McCowan as our executive director for RAS 32 was a home run, and glad to keep sharing her with East Central Indiana Educational Service Center. But she'll really help us to make some huge strides, I believe.
Absolutely. And so with that rural collaborative that you developed, RAS 32, I know that the Randolph Central, you have your precision machining pathway that you are offering up. Can you talk a little bit about maybe the growth of your just Falcon Industries, and kind of since you've been superintendent, how has that grown and evolved over time as a pathway for students?
Well, that's grown a lot. I mean, when I got to Winchester Community High School as the principal and quickly as the superintendent, we just did not have much. We had an outstanding instructor in Brian Clausen, but in terms of equipment, he did not have a lot. He had a couple of CNC tabletop machines and an old Bridgeport mill and a few other things that were in pretty sad shape. But then I got a random phone call from this guy named Larry Fast, who wanted to start a scholarship, and we already had started to develop a vision for what we wanted precision machining to look like. And so when he called me, and I had no idea who this guy was, he called me. I already knew in my head our next steps were to buy a commercial grade CNC lathe and a CNC mill. So that first call, I shared that with him. Said, these are our next steps. We will need to buy this and this, and he was curious about it because he has an industry background, and he just questioned me about it, and we set up another call to talk about the scholarship he's going to set up. And on that second call, the first thing he says to me is, "Rolland, I want to buy those 2 machines." And he could not write the check for $100,000 fast enough. The guy was just wanted to do it that bad. And he has helped us to transform that program. So it now, in terms of 5S process and what that place looks like and the configuration, he bought those 2 machines. He later bought 2, a manual mill, another Bridgeport, and a manual lathe. And then he bought an $87,000 mill as well. That's about twice as big as the other one. So he has really transformed our precision machining program in that short time. And actually, he was actually in part of the Falcon Industries. We went up to Wisconsin he met us up there. He flew up there and met us there, and myself and Mr. Clausen, and saw what they're doing at Cardinal Industries up in Wisconsin, and decided we wanted that for our kids. And so that has really grown. Falcon Industries, there's anywhere from 18 to 24 kids involved in it every year. You got the business side of it, you got the marketing side of it, you got kids that are designated welders, designated machinists, designated wordworking people. So it's a job shop. People bring their public. The public can bring whatever they want. Local government, local businesses can bring what they want. Describe the job to our kids. They'll estimate the job and then turn around and complete it. We've had some huge partners in that. TOA, a local stamping plant on the edge of town, TOA Winchester LLC, I think is their official name. We now make all of the carts that they use in their manufacturing process. So when something comes off the out of a machine stamped, that gets stuck on a cart that's made by the students at Winchester Community High School. So that's pretty exciting to be a part of that industry in that process. And they've done some pretty amazing projects. They've done some projects for me. They've done some projects for local racing team, and I saw them do a bed of it was some utility truck of some type, and it had one corner of it had been crushed. They cut out the part that was crushed and rebuilt it. I mean, they do some pretty amazing things. And then they also make some, they make some chicken grills and some benches, and they'll make those when they have an open house. They sell those things, and so they'll make a bunch of those ahead of time, and I think that they've sold everything they've ever made, so it's pretty exciting.
Well, we have work from Falcon Industries represented in our building here at Sunnyside.
Where have you, Ron? I'm curious, as Falcon Industries has grown, how have you seen students use that experience in a student-run enterprise to launch them into their career pathway?
Oh, we've had that's happened a lot. It amazes me the connections kids are making through Falcon Industries, and even in welding in general or precision machining, because industry partners are in our building. That's an exciting thing to see our industry partners there. They'll make those connections. They'll come out and talk to the student that's working on the project that they had them work on. And so when you make those connections, things happen for kids, and it's happened over and over again. And industry partners want to be in our building because they need those. They need those employees. They need those machinists and welders. So so we've had people. We've had students leave our graduate from high school, and actually we have some now that are actually already working with local industry on a part-time basis, and then they'll go on full-time as they move forward. TOA, I know that TOA, we had a student do an internship out at TOA, and now he's one of their maintenance guys. And last I heard, they were sending him to Japan to get some training in Japan. So it's pretty neat what's happening for these kids because they're getting exposure to these things.
Yeah, that is some amazing stuff to have on your resume by the time you're 18 years old, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It is.
Yeah. And I just to elevate what you just said is, when you have those connections with employers in your community, things happen for kids, and it's exciting. It's exciting to see really students be able to not only have relevance in what they're learning in high school, but to be able to see a future pathway, and a future pathway that allows them to use their talents and their gifts right here in East Central Indiana is even more exciting. So, wow, that's really powerful. I made a little list here. Everything here, just a few things going on in Winchester, Indiana, and Randolph Central School Corporation: early college, P-TECH, student-run enterprise, a rural collaborative, engagement with the literacy cadre, and extensive employer engagement in your region. So that's just a small list, Rolland, of everything that you, your staff, your building and district leaders have to be proud of and celebrate. That's a lot, and it's a lot of great opportunities for students, and just the impact of that. I can only imagine will continue to grow.
Exactly, and and there's other areas. I mean, our agriculture program has just exploded. We now have a greenhouse there, so there's a lot of going on with that. They're starting agriculture in 8th grade now here. We're looking. I haven't figured all this out yet, but someday we're going to have a livestock barn out here. So pretty excited about the direction we're headed.
Yeah, of course. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. We like to ask every guest on the podcast, you spend time talking about your district, and that's really what we want to elevate and highlight, but we also want to get to know you just a little bit here. So can you tell us what you're recommending right now? Do you have something personal or professional, something in media or professional learning that has kind of sparked your interest lately that you'd like to recommend to colleagues or friends?
Well, I would say this, and this is I would say that as a superintendent, one of the most important things that I do is I find out what the people in my district are passionate about,
Hmm.
because you've got to build on your strengths. And I didn't determine when I walked through the door here. I didn't decide, oh, let's do precision machining. I had somebody in my building that was passionate about it, but their vision was stifled because they didn't have the resources. So you find out, and then later, as that evolved, and we saw look at the possibility of a welding program, and that program we're actually building a second welding lab, and so you just find out what people are passionate about. Our agriculture program, our early college teachers are passionate about what they're doing. The literacy cadre, we're also expanding into preschool like we never have before. So you've got to find out what your staff is passionate about, and that's where you put your resources and your efforts, and it pays dividends every time.
Yeah, very good. Well, Rolland, thank you again for joining us on the Forge Your Future podcast. Like I said, it's been truly inspiring, not only to visit Randolph Central and to see these things, but to really, talk about them with this level of detail has been really inspiring. I love it. And you're doing big things in Randolph Central. So congratulations to you and your team, Rolland, and thank you again for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Forge Your Future podcast. We hope that this glimpse into the bright future of East Central Indiana inspires you and brings you hope.
We have the privilege to work with these future makers every day and want to share their stories throughout Indiana and beyond.
If you enjoyed today's podcast, please share it with your circle, and let's keep the conversation going.
You can connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and on our website.
Until next time, remember that your strengths and interests are a blueprint to your future of success and impact.